Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs, et bienvenue à FRUK Rugby. Yeah, fair enough, I'm in Manchester.
But I'm in France, where it's go time for the Pro D2 playoffs.
Which we have had no way whatsoever of watching, of course, in the UK and Ireland.
Until now, finally.
Yes, finally.
Pro D2 Rugby has a home in the UK and Ireland.
On YouTube, on FRUK Rugby.
For free?
That's right, free. Free-to-air rugby's making a comeback.
French flair.
Rugby mad towns.
Passionate fans.
Giant men. All with one dream of reaching the world's biggest domestic rugby competition.
The top 14.
Subscribe on YouTube.
Join us for the playoffs.
Join us for the barrage.
The semi-final.
And the final as we follow one team to the promised land.
La Vache.
We are live. Pro D2 Rugby has a home in the UK and Ireland here on FRUK Rugby for the first time. So let me say thank you for sharing this moment with us and for sharing our passion for French rugby. Tense, high stakes, emotional, knockout French rugby and free-to-air rugby. In a world of subscriptions, we thought we would lighten your load and bring you some seriously intense rugby competition. So we're on YouTube, so drop a little thumbs up. I don't know how the algorithm works, but it helps. And you can also put a comment down below. That's not me and Joe Worsley, by the way. We're far better looking than that, but we are not in the south of France. But why don't you ask a question in the comments as well to Joe Worsley, and I'll ask you a question right now. Joe, how are you feeling at this moment?
I'm so excited. It's been my first year in Pro D2. I didn't know that much about the competition, but it's been a wonderful year. And now we're getting to money time, so the excitement's going up. Watching this game's getting the hairs on the back of my neck standing up.
Yeah, we have got an absolute belter of a game, and it's kind of fitting that this is the debut of Pro D2 on FRUK Rugby in the UK and Ireland, that we have some UK representation in this game. But before we get to the details, just give us a little the big picture view of the playoffs in Pro D2, Joe.
Okay, so the top 6 teams qualify for the playoffs in Pro D2. The first team and second team, which are Grenoble and us, Brive, we qualify for the semi-finals direct, so we get this week off. The 4 teams underneath have playoffs to get to those semi-finals. 3, who are Colomiers, play 6, who are Montauban. That happens tomorrow. And then the match tonight, as you can see, is Provence against Angoulême. Whoever wins this game goes to play Grenoble. Whoever wins the Colomiers Montauban game comes here to Brive to play us.
Oh, Joe in Brive watching this game in Provence. And yeah, there comes Arthur Colville and his Aix-en-Provence team. Jimmy Gopperth, you just caught a glimpse of there. What a moment. He will be hoping it's not his final game for Les Noirs. He is in the fly half position. There's a lot of familiar names. George North, another. But they seem to be in quite kind of buoyant, energetic mood there as they stand alongside their Soyaux Angoulême opponents, Joe.
Yeah, definitely. That's all their teammates in the corridor supporting their team, and the team walking through the middle of them. So it's not just the 15 players on the pitch. This is a team effort. So there's 35 players involved in that, and they're all supporting their teammates, hoping that they can produce a victory today.
And here they go, out onto the turf, artificial turf at that, the Stade Maurice David in Provence, an absolutely stunning town, just about half an hour from Marseille. And the crowd are in, the scene is set, and we have got knockout rugby. As you just mentioned, Joe, this is your first experience of Pro D2 as a coach, having spent many years with Bordeaux. You're with Brive this year. Just give us a sense of your take on Pro D2 as a competition.
Top 14 with Cass, we got all the way, finished first, got to the final. Those playoffs were an incredible experience. One day I want to obviously go back there, maybe hopefully take Brive there, you never know. But this is the equivalent thing in Pro D2 right now. And this tournament has become, this league has become so much stronger in the 10-12 years I've been in France. It used to be a maul and scrum fest. Now, some incredible players playing some incredible rugby. It's been a great competition. Aix-en-Provence,
who play in all black and have almost an all black fern emblem on their chest. They're going to be kicking off to Soyaux Angoulême. A bit of a free hit for them, Joe. Soyaux, as we get... Actually, let's just enjoy this moment. The barrage is underway.
Oh!
What a start from Soyaux Angoulême. This is what they're capable of. Territory and opportunity straight away, and they've taken Provence right down to the 5-metre line. The stuff they would have dreamt of, Joe.
Yeah, they left a gap, Soyaux Angoulême, by the 10-metre line. And Jimmy Gopperth tried to kick it into that space, but it was a poor kick and it was well read by the second row. Oh, my days.
Talk about taking things quickly. That one's backfired also. Soyaux Angoulême right on the line. What an opening moment for the visitors. They're pretty handy on the road. No one has won more games on the road in Pro D2 than Soyaux Angoulême. They come with no fear. They may see this as a free hit up against the favourites Provence. They've got themselves a penalty advantage. Referee for this one is Kevin Brayley. What can Soyaux Angoulême make of this? Big hit from Ingafi now. That's setting the tone. He's the physical totem for the home side. Soyaux Angoulême, 10 metres out, trying to get to the edge. It's the fullback, Jules Debec. Turned over well. I think that was by Andre Zafra getting in there, the second row, but a 5-metre penalty.
Right, let's see what they do now. They're going to go for the scrum, going to kick it into touch for the maul. Nope, they're going quick.
Off they go. And was that massive backer? You're going to see plenty of him carrying the ball. Qualifies for Scotland through a Paisley-born mother and maybe part of Scotland's squad this summer. We'll see what he can do in Pro D2 this evening. They are 2 metres from the Aix-en-Provence line. Tamana Harrison just on one edge with the defence with the long mane of hair. They've got a defensive shift to do now, Aix-en-Provence. The crowd willing them on. Soyaux Angoulême from the Charente region. What can they make of this attacking platform? It comes out the back to the left, and they're going to score. Left-hand touchline. Nathan Farissier opens the scoring. We are just 2 minutes in, and the deadlock has been broken.
Wow, what a start. I mean, Angoulême, I think they probably prepared really well and read what was going to come their way. Read the kickoff, read that line out that Provence tried to take quickly on their 5-metre line, won the ball, got the penalty, and just started playing quickly on the line. And you saw the quality of their handling to get the ball to the space, to the winger out wide. That was incredible.
We saw some colour in the stands as well. And it looks like Angoulême have brought themselves a cheering section. I mean, that is... You're a coach, Joe. All those hours you spend in the week preparing and then all those things go wrong.
The Provence coaches are going to be pretty wound up right now. But the Angoulême coaches, I think they've probably analysed Provence really well. And they've come up with, for the kickoff, if we leave this space, they're going to kick into it. I think they probably prepared for that, as they did for the 5-metre line out, which was intercepted, which gave them the field position to score that try.
Clearly there is a breeze in the stadium, but that has not stopped Angoulême from getting the full complement. 7-0 to the visitors. And Provence, of course, let's go back 1 year, Joe. They finished top of Pro D2. They were exactly where you are with Brive right now. They watched these barrage matches and then lost in the semi-final. So, I mean, those scars will be deep.
Definitely. They lost to Grenoble at home and they were very wound up after that.
Soyaux Angoulême just trying to calm things down now. They've had enough excitement for the time being. A nice clean exit, I think, is what they're after. Manu Sabous, the scrum half, onto his left peg. And decent change.
Yeah, that is a great exit. That's a great start from Angoulême. That first kickoff, incredible. We saw him getting into the opposition half, then scoring. And that kick was amazing. A great kick from Manu Sabous, who's he's played at Bordeaux with me years ago, and he's become a fine nine with a great boot.
Yeah, Maurizio Reggiardo, you just saw a shot of there, the head coach of Aix-en-Provence. He looks slightly concerned. A former prop for Argentina. I think he'll want a bit of a set piece, and well, they've got a nudge on there. Soyaux Angoulême didn't initially compete for that.
They're worried about the Provence maul. So what they did is not commit. They reduced it to a 3-man line out, even though Provence had 5 or 6, and that just meant that the maul was not allowed to be formed. So when a team do that, the Provence team can't move forward or they give away a penalty. So the first player who touches the opposition has to be carrying the ball. So that's a way of trying to nullify the opposition maul.
They've avoided the maul, but they're going to get a scrum, and this is a key focus for both teams. Soyaux Angoulême, when they can get parity or anything approaching it, they are deadly. But They have been overpowered at times this season, Joe.
Yeah, we just saw there as a tactic to avoid that power battle. They sent a man around the other side as well to lock onto the ball. And then when it went down, he just held on. And because it became a wall when he touched it, that meant the ball.
This is the bread and butter for Pro D2 Rugby. They love the set piece in this competition, even more than everywhere else. And Aix-en-Provence, they have got some power in that injury, and they're trying to press it forward. Pifoletti's head popping up there at hooker. Jimmy Gopperth, 42 next month, still making breaks, and he still says he's got gas in the tank. It won't be with Provence next season, but he hasn't given up yet. There is Pifoletti, former Saracen, USA international, taking Provence into the 22. And that is a player you definitely need to keep an eye on this evening. Charlie Gambini, the open side flanker, rangy runner, really good line out forward. As Finau pulls it back to George North, it comes to the... Oh no, there is George North on the right edge. In a position we've seen him in many times over the years on the wing. Provence, you can see they're making dents, and they take it to within 10 metres. A response from the men in black. Gambini again busts through the first tackle. Leaves Sabous on the deck. Jimmy Gopperth with a step. Manful defence from Angoulême at the moment. But the phases are telling. Come left. Pod sets up Tamana Harrison. He made the Midi Olympique team of the season in Pro D2. He's had a great year. And there's Big Zafra, the Colombian international. As the ball goes through the hands, Inga Finau, can he spin to the line? Oh. He's got the ball down.
Yeah, he did so well to get that ball down. I thought he was going to get held up. Would have been a massive moment with a drop on the try line instead of a try, but Finau twisted and turned and got that ball down. Did fantastically well.
Inga Finau has been an absolute totem for this Aix-en-Provence team this year. He's been such a focus for them. And now they've managed to combine him again, unlike in the first part of the season with George North. You've got a powerful centre combo there that flex, Joe.
Definitely. Those two are going to be a key component of this match. We just saw the power. That team of Provence held on to that ball for, 20 phases there. And Soyaux Angoulême didn't get that one or two times. They got close to getting a steal. So the quality of the Angoulême tackling is going to have to step up to deal with this power if they're going to have any hope of winning this game.
Jimmy Gopperth. 7-all. Cheer from the home supporters. You must have played, I'm just thinking at Wasps you wouldn't have played with him, but you must have played against Jimmy Gopperth, Joe. When he was at Newcastle, maybe?
Yeah, I think I played against Newcastle. Maybe once for Leinster as well.
Did you get the better of him? Did you manage to get to him?
I think so. I'd like to think so.
So many 10s you obliterated, Joe. It's hard to remember. I understand.
Yeah, their faces all blur into one.
Well, here we are. Pro D2. 2 tries already, 1 apiece, and it's 7-all. 8 minutes in. There is Tamana Harrison. He has had a big season.
Yeah, and go forward. A load of carries today.
Yeah, loads of carries. The 2 number 8s, in fact, big focal points for ball carrying. Masibaka and Harrison is one of those matchups. Most looking forward to with this one. And there is Masibaka, bang on cue. Angoulême taking it behind the forward pod. We've got a lot of dynamic forwards though. Mamadou Mate being one of them as they go to the short side. A little dink. And that was adjudged to have been taken out late or impeded the run through.
Yeah, Angoulême do that quite a lot. When the ball slows down, they look for that little dink over the top with one of the wingers or a speed man chasing it hard. But the referee adjudged that in that case, one of the Provence players had moved in front of the player chasing, prevented him from getting to the ball, penalty.
And they point to the posts. Captain actually is worth mentioning, Gauthier Giboin for Soyaux Angoulême. 36 years young, Spanish international, a talisman for this team.
Yeah, I coached him as a youngster. I've been around that long now. When we were at UBB in the early days, just after promotion, Bordeaux Begler, he played several times for the first team, but then moved on. And he's found his place in his Pro D2 teams, and he's been a stalwart for this team for a number of years now.
Corentin Glenat. Soyaux Angoulême fans might not have been expecting to see in the 10 jersey in this game. He's got them. 10 points to 7 to the good and 2 from 2. Yeah, Ben Botica is out injured. Another name familiar to fans of rugby in the UK with his time at Quins. He is unavailable for this game. Corentin Glenat, though, I have to say, Joe, on the bits I've seen of him in more recent games, he's handy. He can boss this team around.
Yeah, the storm against Oyonnax, and he's had a good start tonight.
We restart. It was Gambini who managed to get a hand to the ball, but it went forward, so we'll have an advantage. Angoulême happy to use it and start to dictate territory. That really is a strong wind, or Sabous has a massive boot. Might be a little bit of both. Kick to contest. And it is Jimmy Gopperth not quite able to get there. But he's got in the way enough to earn his team a scrum and a good attacking platform.
Yeah, probably the first mistake from Glenn out there. That was not the hardest contestable kick to take. Maybe he should have taken that one. That would have been a massive attacking opportunity behind that.
I saw a stat earlier today, Joe, about the Pro D2 attendance this season. It's the highest ever, at nearly 1.5 million, and that puts it in gross terms on a par with the Premiership and the URC. I guess the Stade Amedee Domenech, which we're going to be broadcasting the game from next Friday night, that must have been bonkers this season.
Yeah, it's been sold out for most games, 14, 15, 16,000 in the stadium, and the atmosphere is incredible. I can't wait for that semi-final next week. Apparently the atmosphere is electric around the town the whole day, and then in the stadium even more of a spectacle.
Well, we'll talk a little bit more about the stadium here in a little bit, but here we are, Aix-en-Provence, backline loaded. Jimmy Gopperth, what can he unleash? It goes back to Finau, who is that second distributor, but he won't want to see that pass again as he gets his fullback clobbered. Jules Soulan managing to recycle the ball. And the forwards have had a 20-metre shuttle run back. So they go to the boot. Skipper Arthur Colville.
Yeah, there was a stupid offside there. One of the players was offside. The referee warned him. He didn't really get back and still gave away a stupid penalty. The Angoulême coach is a former international referee, Ruiz, and he's done a great job with this team. He'll be very frustrated at a simple penalty like that being given away by his team.
Yeah, just to give us a sense of what a job Angoulême have done just to be at this stage, that they are operating under one of the lowest budgets in the league, is that right?
Yeah, they're 13 out of 16 teams, 13th lowest budget. So the Provence team has over twice as much money as them, twice as much money to throw at the squad, to throw at powerful players. So Angoulême have managed to build a squad with the little means they have. They've got a great strategy. Listen, we're going to see again that maul tactic here. You see the Angoulême team, they've got 2 players in the line. They're going to let Provence win the ball and then try and sack it, which means tackle the guy carrying the ball and send someone on the far side maybe to block it.
Let's see what they can do. Again, no even attempt at competition. The ball goes off the top. Finau again, the target. The forwards round the corner, that's Paul Melez. He's on loan from Toulouse, who he went back to during the Six Nations. Highly rated young prop. But Masibaka cleaning up the leftovers and giving Angoulême the chance to clear their lines, using that breeze, but counter-attack opportunity. And the wingers have been deadly. Adrien Lepeg, top try scorer in Pro D2 this season. 19 tries in 27 appearances. And what's he got in the playoffs? This game seems to have fallen into a little bit of a pattern, although the offloads, that's how you bust the game wide open. Not going to hand.
So Angoulême are going to be really happy with their start. You saw the maul tactic to try and take the maul away from Provence. Behind it, they could defend against the back line on their launch, and then they managed to turn them over. Provence are going to have to work out a tactic to use the powerful ball carriers they have in their forward pack. I think what they should do is win the ball and then just start rushing forward, play quickly and storm into the pack. Because when Provence have 6 against 2 in the line out, I think that's what they should do, rather than just spin it out to the wide where there are loads of players waiting to mug whichever back gets sent up. with the ball.
So here we go then. What can be done here? First time that Provence can properly not worry about striking the ball. Not the hookers strike the ball too much anymore, but having a proper go at Soyaux Angoulême, trying to get their tonnage through the opponents.
Yeah, this could be another key moment. You saw that first scrum. Provence probably shouldn't have let the ball come out. I think they would have won a penalty had they carried on. So we're going to see here the Angoulême team. Can they get this ball out quickly? Can Massibaka get the ball away and start a move, as opposed to a slow hook slowly coming out the scrum? They might get folded over and lose the ball.
Look at that sky over Provence, Joe. I mean, I don't know if have you been to this stadium on a game day?
I have actually not been there on a game day.
I can tell you I have, and they have. When I was there, they had an oyster, lobster, crab bar. That tells you everything you need to know about Aix-en-Provence. Angoulême, though, have won this scrum. Bit of territory, again through the boot of the scrum half, and they're not messing about in their own half. Soyaux Angoulême.
No, they're not taking any risks. I think if they get fast ball, they will probably play on top of it, but they haven't had any yet in their own half. So there again, they went for a tactic where they probably identified some space behind the winger. I don't think the kick was correctly executed, so it ended up bouncing into touch. Had it stayed on the pitch, I think Angoulême could have had a good pressure there.
Again, off the top from Provence, who go edge to edge, shepherded to the touchline. Offload out the back, into touch.
Okay, so there's, I think it would be a free kick. So Angoulême had two players out of the line out standing close to, they're trying to basically fool the Provence team about where they're going to throw it. So there are two people standing out, like you can see there. That's illegal. You've got to have only one.
I'm so glad you're fluent in French, Joe.
It does help.
So I haven't actually mentioned Johnny May yet. We saw a little brief moment, a clip of him as the ball goes up into the night sky from Colville.
Speak of the devil.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, if there's one man on either side of the ball that you want anywhere near a high ball, it would be him, and he's had a really big impact on this team. You mentioned that they're one of the lowest spending in Pro D2. Just the sheer presence of Johnny May must have, a guy like that with that experience, played in World Cup finals, it must add confidence to the group.
Yeah, even though he's probably not as quick as he used to be, he would have dragged the whole team up with his experience, training hard every day, encouraging the youngsters, taking them forward. You need players like him. I know he's one of the funnier guys and can get the banter going, but he's someone that's really, I think the Angoulême players will love him, and they've enjoyed seeing his professionalism and how he brings that to the team every day of the week.
Well, we just got a glimpse at just how strong the wind is, and that could definitely be a factor. Again, the crowd's starting to get a little bit frustrated at this point, nearly a quarter of the way in. And Angoulême have played this beautifully so far.
Yeah, they got up and contested there. It's hard to see how strong the wind is. There's no flags on top of the posts. But yeah, that kick went a mile. So it'd be interesting to see if it's going to be a feature, because if it is that strong, it's an advantage for Angoulême, and in the second half, Provence will have that advantage.
Just how much do you think that semi-final defeat at home last year, having been top of the log through the season, how much of a psychological impact, how many times will that have been mentioned in the last couple of weeks?
They're a different team than they were then. I think if I was a player, I would use it to inspire me and make me realise I've got to go all out here, or the same thing could happen again.
Massibaka thought about the charge, thought better of it, out the back. Chop tackle there. And at the second attempt, Angoulême, though, makes some valuable yards, approaching halfway off his wing. That was Johnny May. As they look to go, again, edge to edge, we're seeing some intent from Angoulême when they have decent ball. As the hooker there, Mete sets another target, smashed by Isaac Rodder. He's had quite some career as well, Isaac Rodder. Capped by Australia at 21 years of age. That ball, is it going to go all the way? It's going to go dead.
Yeah, that's another mistake from the 10, Glenat. So mistakes like that can really cost you. From where he kicked it now, Provence going to have A, a scrum in which they were dominating earlier, could win a penalty. B, an amazing attacking position should they play the ball.
Worth saying, actually, Joe, that neither team has ever been to the top 14.
Yeah, Provence are a team that have come up in the last 10 to 15 years, and their budget's grown and grown and grown. They're a team who are ready to come up. Angoulême, for example, are still a growing team. For example, if they did manage to qualify for the top 14, their budget would mean they'd be severely restricted. We've seen Van this year, who have a relatively small budget. They've done incredibly well to stay in touch with everyone else in that league. But part of going up into the top 14 is having that financial plan ready when you do go up to compete with everybody else. Provence are ready for that. It's a rich town, a lot of sponsorship. They're ready to do it.
Well, there's a man with his hands on the ball right now who has, well, played many times in the top 14 for Stade Soyaux, 127 appearances. And you mentioned Van, that's where he began his rugby. In fact, he's
a Breton.
Yeah, he's a Breton, and his dad was a former president of the club as well. So he'll obviously be hoping that there's some miracle that can save his old club from the drop. And Provence managed to make it there so he can be reunited. But certainly the first of those is looking unlikely at this point. Provence, well, they're in this game, 7-10 down, 21 minutes in.
Yeah, it's been a fascinating first 20 minutes, huh? I would love to get a camera view from further back so we can see how the Provence team is setting up to attack this scrum.
There you go, ever the defence coach. In fact, you just sat there scribbling notes for the next couple of weeks, Joe, as you're doing this.
Oh, definitely. This week's a week for notes.
Well,
that could work.
Little chicken wing offload. I think Jordan North is still down on the deck, but it's ended in a try for Nadir Boudadjeu.
Yes, there was a George North chicken wing offload like we saw, and he managed to kick it, I think, with his heel, like a side heel. The perfect chip through. Was that a planned move? I doubt it. But hey, that was incredible. I'd like to see that in slow motion.
Well, the fireworks are going off in the stadium, but a concerning look on George North's face. Fantastic try. Opportunistic. Finau again. No look pass to his centre partner, and that was classic footballing skills. I reckon Marseille down the road might be giving him a call.
Yeah, I was looking at George North's leg get trapped there. I think you see the tackler slides onto it. Oh, yeah. I'm not sure we'll see George again after that.
Well, he missed the first half of the season with injury.
Oh, yeah, I hope he's not injured. That could be a medial. Hopefully it's not too bad. Hopefully he's got such lax ligaments after years of playing rugby that he won't have to go off.
Speaking of years playing rugby.
42.
Fading in front of the posts on this one. But yeah, he was presented with a jersey after the final Pro D2 game there. He will not be playing here next season, but as I said, even at 42, he wants more. Well, how old were you when you stopped, Joe?
33, so to carry on for another 11 years playing, another nine years playing rugby is pretty incredible. I don't know how he's done it.
It's an absolute cracker so far. 12-10, Provence against the wind. That could be influential. Charlie Gambini, if Provence are to make it to the top 14, he will definitely be influential. There's space on the edge.
So yeah,
are they brave enough to use it? Well, George North looks absolutely fine to me.
He must have plasticine ligaments in his knees.
And we can see there why there was space on the edge, because there are three men in the backfield. And we fall into a territorial battle. Talk about footballing skills. We've seen it from his opposite number, Johnny May. Oh, how many times have we seen him crabbing across the pitch like a running back in the NFL?
Ooh.
Excellent turnover there by, was that Paul Melez, the prop?
Yeah, Melez is a fantastic ball stealer. Reads the play, steals a ton of ball every year.
Well, Johnny May came up protesting about something, but they've managed to get the ball back in any case. Soyaux Angoulême just inside the Provence half, with ball and an opportunity to set the go forward. Sami Zuhair. Andres Zafra coming up with a turnover. We've seen a couple of steals then.
Yeah, you saw the power. Rodder's power there. He's a big man, very strong. So he got his body close to the ball carrier and held him up here and ripped him up. And when he dropped down, not enough support players around. Zafra had time to get on the ball.
Andres Zafra, the first Colombian international to play professional rugby in France. He's came from Colombia and started in Federal 3. So how many levels below this one is that? Another 3 levels down.
Yes, three leagues below.
So he's had some journey. How we would love that to end at the very top in French rugby.
I think he's going to come back for the cheap shot on the head.
Is this what Johnny May was complaining about, do you think?
No, it was after the steal. Someone came in and pushed someone's head down on the floor. We'll have to see if that was who did that.
Was that Zafra himself?
No, that was from the...
Is Zafra coming in from the side?
I think it's the wrong moment.
Yeah, okay.
I think they're going to go back to the different ruck. The referee's not wanting to see that one. He's struggling to tell the director which ruck it was. So here he gets held up, Roddy uses his power. As it goes down, smashes him there. And here you see a bit of a cheap shot in a minute. Neck and getting pushed down. There might be a penalty coming to Provence.
I mean, anyway. I know it's 2025, but do you mean the push down on the back of Zafra's head?
I think they're looking at whether he grabs the neck or hits him on the floor. So you see there's a player already on the floor, and there he slams in. He doesn't catch his head. He hits him on the shoulder. I think it's probably just going to carry on being a penalty.
Avec le joueur qui retient volontairement, le joueur noir qui retient volontairement le numéro 8 blanc par la jambe.
So he's talking about the white number 8 was hit on the legs, but anyway, I didn't catch the first part of that, so I'm struggling to understand exactly what he's going to give.
It's all right, Joe. You got about 15 minutes before you're going to have to translate the halftime interview. So just prepare yourself for that. Interestingly, obviously we are English language commentary of Pro de Deux. We have got a very English-sounding referee tonight, Kevin Brayley, and one of his assistant referees are Jonathan and Anthony as well. So I think they've just done it for us.
Very nice. I think they punished Tamara Harrison for that late hit of the player who's already on the floor.
Oh, as he was just coming to the deck.
Yeah.
Well, in any case, it's given Corentin Glenat the opportunity to put his team back in the lead.
Tamara Harrison's such a physical player. It didn't look to me to be a penalty, really. I think we should have carried on the play there. So a bit of info, they've actually changed the balls. There's a new sponsor. Gilbert were the balls, and for the barrages and the semis and the final, we're using these B Rugby. It's a new ball. A lot of kickers don't like them. Maybe Glenat, one of the reasons his kicking's not been on the ball so far is because of these new balls they're using at the moment.
Well, whether that's true or not, he'll be saying that for sure. No, there's every
definitely.
chance. Interesting.
Yeah.
Love that, Joe. Any more random facts you've got like that, please just pipe up. Masibaka.
Look at him beat that tackle.
Oh, Masibaka and Harrison. Almost went nuclear, that shot, as did that one. The physical edge from Provence's forwards coming, and they've turned this one over, it looks like.
Yeah, you saw some real power coming through from that Provence team.
Well,
that money buys power, and you saw it come through there.
And you can see the frustration in that last decision coming through in the way that Tamara Harrison celebrated. It did feel, Joe, like they needed a little bit of a little shock or a little nudge or something, because that looked like a very different Provence forward pack just in that moment.
Yeah, I think that initial try and that first few minutes of play would have been that shock they needed. But since then, physically, they've struggled to dominate the mauls because of the tactics Angoulême are using. But when they can slow down the play, get the defensive system in place, you're seeing the kind of hits they're putting in. And then the power of the forwards reading to come in behind. But because they won and dominated that collision, behind the forwards can commit to the breakdown and push them back. The penalty was for Johnny May. The ruck had already formed and he picked the ball up as he's getting pushed backwards. And then they give him 10 more metres because he didn't give him the ball to allow him to play quickly.
Compounding issues then. That was a shot. Was that Inga Finau again? No, Hooker. Oh, no, it was Inga Finau. He's had a big game. He's had a big season. Let's see what the forwards can do. Will they go for the maul this time? We've seen it off the top several times. They're going straight for the set, and it is competed by Angoulême, but I don't think it's going to be enough. They're going all the way to the line.
Yeah, this is what Angoulême will fear. That power game taking over their team. Because what can they do to stop it? They've tried a tactic already. They've had to commit when it's 5 meters from their line, and the maul dominated. The Provence maul dominated them in that situation.
Guillaume Piazzoli with the try for the home team. Nicely set, and they just splintered right through the middle of that.
It was interesting to see how they set up. The front three were really tight. The first three players in behind were also incredibly tight. When you form a maul really well, afterwards it's very hard for the opposition to stop. As an opposition player, you want to try and get in between the lifters and the jumper at some point and break it in half. If you can do that, you can stop them all. If not, it comes down to pure power. And if the opposition have got more, you're going to struggle.
As Gopeth puts over the extras. And a little bit of daylight for the first time in this game. Maurizio Reggiardo looking a little bit happier now. They have the wind in the second half as well. Angoulême, though, a team very, very dangerous. They like to play fast and loose. That's how they overcome the power of other teams, and it served them well this season. They might have to bust open that box of tricks. Well, getting restarts, that's going to help.
Yeah, that was a freebie from Provence that time.
Cheap entry into the 22. Ooh. Sekeli Nabu, the big Fijian there, taking the ball and a tackle from the opponents on the gain line. They had advantage. They've got a scrum on the 22, and yeah, to that. So Angoulême, very happy, fast and loose, Joe.
Yes, they're a team who live on trying to play fast, but the two teams have similar kind of points scored and similar defensive records as well. I'd say the only big difference between them is a territory game. Angoulême tend to play more rugby around the 50-metre line, whereas Provence have very good territory. And they tend to play up in the opposition half. Again, part of the reason for that is that power game they got, because they got the big budget, powerful players. They can play in that style. Angoulême don't have the money. They have to play fast, and they have to seize the moments, or they're not going to be in the game.
Johnny May just loitering in the backfield there. Has an option out the back. It comes back into the inside, though. Mathis Safon. And round the corner, Sami Suher. No change, though. The defensive line is up and at Angoulême. Lafon trying to set a target for his forwards, and this time didn't hold it that time. Last time, but Nabu keeps hold, but not for long.
Yeah, it was a great steal. So the quality of the tackle made that steal happen. As the number 5 was running in, Nabu, he's done that a couple of times. They've obviously prepared for it. They chopped him down to the floor. A clean chop means the support's late, and the opportunity for the Steelers is there. And Piazzoli is straight onto that ball in a flash.
Yeah, it's a handy back row. Obviously, that's your old position. But if you do come up against Provence, they're gonna give you a test.
Yeah, definitely. And the bench strong in the back row. Jalagonia, starting number 8 for Georgia, is coming back from injury and will be on in this game at some point.
Well, it was Gambini with the line out. It was George North with the midfield hit. And Provence have been given access into Angoulême's half, and slightly concerning momentum in this game from an Angoulême point of view. They are losing the contacts. Dents are being made in their defensive line. And Provence able to pick their holes. Stepping. Zafra at the heart of the action for Provence with a carry. Paul Melez wide, and it's out the back, and there's space on this edge again. Tamarana Harrison is waiting, and that is pure power.
Did he get that? Was that a knock on, or did he pick it up clean? I think he might have picked it up.
Picked that up.
Man, Tamara Harrison.
Wow.
Used his body and sat down that 15. That was an incredible play. An offload. Let's see if he knocked it on or not.
It's all on at the hands of Jules de Beck.
Laurent, pour nous, décision de terrain essai. La première passe est à plat pour nous, il n'y a pas d'en avant.
So he thinks it's a try.
You
can see now.
Potentiel en avant. Voir la sortie des mains ici.
Ooh.
I think they might give a knock on for that.
I think that's a knock on.
Looks bad from that angle. That one looks less severe. It's this one here.
Yeah, fingertip to it, into the floor. Fantastic. You're right. The space was there, they took it, and Tamana Harrison showed exactly why he's been one of the top performers in this division. If we'd have said at the start of the season, one former Northampton back row is going to be in the Midi Olympique team of the season for Pro D2, I probably would have guessed Courtney Laws.
Yeah, you're right there. But Tamara Harrison's been carrying like this all season. That's why he's in that. They might be looking at a high tackle as well, because he does grab the neck of Tamara Harrison a bit. And the offload might have come out forward as well, so they're looking at several things.
Does the home team get the rub of the green with the officials? I have heard that as a bit of a rumour in Pro D2, but you've seen it for yourself week in, week out.
I think there's a subconscious bias that happens because of the sheer support coming in for the home team. During COVID, there were some stats coming out about how home advantage was blunted by not having fans there, both in referees' decisions and the results that actually happened. So I think subconsciously at some level it does affect referees, but to a very, very, very minor effect.
They're still looking at this, Joe. I mean, I sort of made up my mind that that was a knock on.
I think they're looking at the tackle as well, as to whether. No, he's saying he never let go of the ball, he's always in possession. So
big call.
This could be a try.
I think
his fingers are always touching the ball from that angle. He's going to give it.
I think some Soyaux Angoulême fans might be going, yes, there's your evidence for what I just suggested.
But that angle from the back, you can see the fingers always in contact with it. And they're giving a yellow card for the high tackle. That is hard on the number one. I don't think the high tackle is that severe.
Sami Suher.
Le numéro 1 fait un plaquage haut qui a un contact avec le cou. C'est une faute qui est cynique. Donc je vais mettre carton jaune et l'essai sera accordé parce qu'il n'y a pas d'en avant.
Captain Gauthier Gibois, you can see he looked bereft at that decision. Sami Suher has got a long trudge back to halfway, not only down a man in the front row, but 5 points further adrift from Provence, who take a commanding lead as we go over the half-hour point in this game.
Yeah, this is looking ominous for Angoulême. You saw in that last sequence to play, again, many, many phases. And the Angoulême team was unable to dominate the collisions at any point. They were unable to create a turnover, unable to slow them down. And then boom, even with 14 players as one was injured, they still managed to create that. Yeah, you can see in the top the time and the score. So 4E means 4 essais in tries in French. So it's 4 tries. They have the number of tries up because obviously during the in-season bonus points, defensive bonus points come into play.
Well, on that, Joe, actually, Provence won all 15 of their games at home as Tamana Harrison gets chopped down. I think Mathis Lafont took that last try personally.
Yeah, that was a great kick. A great kick, great chase, smashed him. That's what they should have been doing. Now there's no option but to kick for Provence. Earlier they were trying to play out from their 22. This time they had to kick.
Colville against the breeze, gets it beyond halfway. There is space on the left-hand touchline. Shut down, though, by the try scorer, Boudjeur. And they have won the ball back. Colville with the offload. Zafra, quick hands. Gambini gets the ball to the edge. Lepeg, quick in support. Fast ball for Colville, who recycles. There's numbers, there's space, there's opportunity for Provence. Trying to put a nail in the coffin at this early stage. Feels like Angoulême are on the ropes at this point as they go coast to coast, and there's more space in that edge. Wasn't wasn't taken. That opportunity there looked like it was there to be taken. There's a penalty advantage coming, though. The only way Angoulême can slow the ball up at the moment is illegally. Malez, handy at first receiver. We've seen him offloading, we've seen him passing. Talk about offloads. There's Fee now. It's into touch, however. They're going to come back for the penalty advantage. It feels like Angoulême are on the ropes at this point.
They are. That penalty, I think they actually had the chance to steal the ball because there was some poor play from Provence. The player held on to the ball when he shouldn't have. All the support players thought he was going to pass it, so they were late to get to him. Now, George North, the knee, they might be bad after all. I'm sure we're going to see a horrible angle now.
Oh, that's twice. Similar to the first incident.
I hope he's not got another bad injury. He's had no luck in the last couple of years. Okay, but the Angoulême team had a chance to steal the ball. The player's technique was poor. He didn't get cleanly on the ball. And him and his teammate fell onto the wrong side and gave away a penalty for good measure. So this Angoulême team's really struggling to win that collision. And the collision in rugby is the thing you have to get right. If you lose enough collisions, you're going to lose the game. It's the be-all and end-all for rugby.
Alexander Ruiz, head coach for Soyaux Angoulême, he's vexed on the touchline. A former referee, as Joe mentioned, he's having a chat with the fourth official. Things not going his side's way. Jimmy Gopperth can twist the knife just a little bit with 3 more. His kicking style hasn't changed in all these years. He kicks a rugby ball like I hit a golf ball. Although he hits it straight.
He's not that bad, is he?
3 more up.
I mean, obviously...
I'm going to give... Oh, go on, Joe.
Sorry. Provence are missing Plisson, who he's a regular 10, who's an incredible kicker. But Jimmy's done a great job. In this season, the half of the season that Plisson's missed, he's stepped up and been amazing at 10.
Johnny May getting to the Provence receiver first. And decent drills from both teams there. I'm going to give Angoulême a little bit of positivity here, or maybe fans of Angoulême, people cheering on Johnny May and his team. Provence have won all 15 games. Oh, the ball's gone. That must have been passed back into the 22. So there you go.
Yeah, it was.
Mistake from Provence. No, Provence have won all 15 games at home this season. I mean, I admit that's not doing a good job at pepping up Soyaux Angoulême fans at the minute. However, they haven't, in the majority of those games, they haven't got an attacking bonus point. So they've never really been away and out of sight from teams very much.
No, they're battling, they battle, and they back themselves to score tries. I don't think they're going to be too concerned with being 19 down. Well, they are concerned with being 19 points down, but they will think they can catch up.
And the territorial game again. They break to the touchline and then decide to pin Angoulême back. It's return with interest from Nathan Farissier, the man who scored the opening try of the game.
I think we had someone offside in the chase line. So after the kick, there might have been a player in front of the ball who carried on moving forwards.
Make no mistake, in the context of Soyaux Angoulême's season, a penalty in Provence's 22, 19 points down, knowing they're going to be playing against what breeze there may still be left in the second half. This is massive.
It is a huge moment. But I think it was a no-arm tackle. I think the referee said. I couldn't quite hear him.
Do Angoulême take them on at their own game with the maul? Do they have a decent maul game?
No, I think they'll try and... massive backer or a powerful ball carrier might break out, and they'll try and play quickly. They're trying to create a fast ruck at which they can attack quickly behind it to try and get over that line.
First job, unlike that last line out, win the ball cleanly at the front. Masibaka bounces out into the receiver position. I'm sure Provence are expecting that. It goes to Mete instead. Sabous looking around, taking his time. Slow ball, so it's straight round the corner. Briat with the carry.
A bit of confusion there, lucky to get the scrum option. But now they're going to have to sub on a prop. They're already struggling. Let's see how this scrum holds up.
Struggling for ideas, Angoulême, Joe.
Yeah, I don't think. Well, they're struggling to get fast ball. They're struggling to. They're getting dominated by Provence in the collisions, in the maul. They're struggling. That line out, for example, they forced them to win it at the front, and then they just piled them from behind. And then I think they're trying to put Massi Baka, trying to get him into play quickly out of there, but they couldn't. They just couldn't do it because they're getting manhandled by this Provence pack. That's where they're suffering.
Big moment. 1 minute in the half. The start of the barrage. We're live tomorrow night with Colomiers against Montauban. Grenoble, who finished top of the league, they are waiting to face next Thursday the winner of this game. Again, we will be broadcasting that one for you live, same as on Friday night, where Joe's side, Brive, will host the winner of tomorrow's game.
Let's see if Massi Baka can get this ball away quickly. Get into that scrum, rip it out and get the hell away. Get some line speed into Gopeth.
Yeah, Gopeth's ready and waiting, expecting it, I think. He's gone to the blind side, however, and it was a good tackle there from Piazzoli. Again, slow ball recycle, partly because Zafra's got his long legs in the middle of it. Little dummy and lift. Did well to stay inside. They're 4 meters from the line. This could be Angoulême's hopes in these next moments. 40 minutes left, I know, but this feels huge. They are a man down, remember. They've been under the pump after going ahead 7-0 in this contest. Can they finish the half exactly as they started it? There's a penalty advantage coming, so they can roll the dice. Provence shepherding them inside. Malaise chopping the legs. He's had a busy first half. Briat, what can he do? Getting the legs pumping. Looking for a spark of inspiration. Can Glenat provide it? 4 meters out. Quicker ball this time. Penalty advantage, perhaps. There's Angoulême players all over the turf.
So Finau didn't roll away after the tackle. That's what he's been penalised for. Malaise is a class player, isn't he? Like you said, loads of actions. He's a menace at the ruck time. Can handle the ball. Scrummage is good. He looks like another Toulouse talent coming through.
Yeah, 24 years of age. So, and props tend to develop. Well, they're given more time in France to develop. So, like I say, he's on loan this season at Provence. Played a lot of rugby, but I'm sure Toulouse have got their eye on him.
Yeah, that's one of the things about French rugby. So, a prop in the UK in the squad might not get much game time. Here, they can get loaned out for the whole season or 3 months to one of these Pro D2 teams and get some real experience at a high level.
Well, Meta has got Boutamani on his left. They both shift out with the tap. It goes to Massi Baka. Talisman for them, but that is a poor skill execution from him. And the ball is into touch, and that will be the end of the first half. Disappointment, and you can see it on the face of head coach Alexander Ruiz, straight down the tunnel.
Yeah, that was a hell of an opening 20 minutes, but that 20 minutes run into the end of this first half was dominated by Provence. Dominating collisions, dominating up front. Angoulême are going to have to pull something out the bag in this second half. They've got Tisley to come on, they've got some danger players, but currently they're not creating much.
Now, Joe, you've bounced back and forward in France for the last decade. Spent a lot of time there, so I'm just going to again get you prepared for your if there's a halftime interview, your translation skills. But you can see Soyaux Angoulême out on the turf. I said Alexander Ruiz has got some harsh words, but the 10 there, Corentin Glenat, taking the lead of this team. And what would you say if you were in the middle of that, Joe? And is that Johnny May speaking French to his teammates?
I hope. And hope one day we get a microphone in that. Oh, here we go.
Sur ce coup d'envoi qui s'est retourné contre nous, voilà, on a fait pas mal de fautes qui les ont permis de marquer ces 10 points.
So they made lots of faults, allowed them to score a couple of times, like off the kickoff.
Et on a essayé de rester tout en maîtrise pour pouvoir revenir dans le match. Merci beaucoup.
So then they started to win the ad line, and they want to stay like that to be masters of this game. I mean, what players can say at halftime so limited, because you don't want to inspire the opposition, you don't want to say anything you might get picked wrongly. picked up badly, so it ends up being some of the dullest comments that
Très
ever
bien
hear.
parti, avec
Let's
10
go
bonnes
again.
premières minutes de votre part et après un gros trou d'air. Comment finalement reprendre le fil du match en deuxième période pour essayer d'instiller le doute à ces Provençaux?
En faisant ce qu'on s'est dit, en croyant en nous, en restant nous-mêmes, en plaquant en bas, en montant fort comme on l'a fait toute la saison. On sait qu'on n'est pas les plus costauds, mais quand on fait ça, on tourne des montagnes et là on le fait pas pour le moment. Donc,
Believe in ourselves, we're going to carry on tackling low and coming up fast.
Vous avez été perturbé finalement par le vent parce qu'on a senti pas mal d'imprécisions techniques alors que vous vouliez attaquer fort.
Ouais, bien sûr, le vent, le bruit, voilà, c'est des choses auxquelles on n'a pas l'habitude, mais on va se saisir.
Merci
So
beaucoup.
has the wind affected your skills and your kicking? And he says, yeah, the noise and the wind has had a negative effect on us.
Well, they're not going to have the wind in the second half. They're going to have to come out firing. They're 19 points down, 29-10. It's all going to plan after a rocky start for Aix-en-Provence in their home dressing room. We have got the whole of the barrage, all the semi-finals and the final. And here is the kind of thing you can expect to see on FRUK Rugby. Manu Tuolangi, welcome to FRUK Rugby.
Thanks, Tim.
Okay, that's a question for you. Like, what, you're 6 months in now to actually playing in the top 14. You came from English rugby. Like, what did you think the differences were? What struck you like, wow, this is different? What was it? What was different for you rugby-wise on the pitch?
It is like completely different. I think, obviously in England, we focus a lot on structures. A lot of structure, kicking game. Where I came here, it's all about continuity, all about attack, all out offload, the speed of ruck, which from defense point of view is very hard when the other team is on the front foot, trying to slow down the ruck, trying to get tackle time, because over here they favor the quick ball and continuity in terms of instead of the structure.
On more sort of like fundamental basic level, like how's the move been with the family and to the Basque country?
Yeah, it's been really good. When I first came, I came by myself. I drove my car over.
Really?
It was like 15 hours.
What?
From Manchester to...
Yeah, from Manchester
Wow.
to Calais and drove down. So really nice. When I first came, I came by myself for 2-3 weeks, and I stayed with one of the guys that works for Bayonne. Real nice guy, nice family, Nico Viguera. So he showed me the Basque, the proper, because he's born and bred here. So
Awesome.
took me to the Fête de Bayonne.
I've still not done that. I've not done that. It looks amazing.
You gotta do it.
Was it crazy?
My goodness, it's amazing.
I'd love
It's
to.
like, have you been to the October Festival?
I've not done that one either. I've been to another festival in like Pamplona, which was epic, but the Bayonne one's even bigger, isn't it?
I think the Pamplona one is bigger than Bayonne, but I think it's still 1.5 million people for the 5 days. So really, really enjoyed that because I went on. So it started on the Wednesday, then I went again on Thursday. And then they goes like, "Come on, let's go." On Friday, I was like, "Nah, I'm gonna go back to my
white suit,
for the weekend."
white suit and your beret and your
So
your red
all white,
kerchief as well.
all white, or white and red.
Ooh.
great clear out. Let's look at Tuolangi's supporting and reading of this situation. Offload, tackle, in milliseconds he decides that man's isolated, there's no chance for an offload, the threat is coming, the jackler is coming, he's going to target that man. 150 kegs, accelerating in. Speed of decision making, physicality equals a fast ball.
Check this out. In the changing room of Toulouse, and some of the legends that have worn this jersey. One of the men that pulls that on these days is Jack Willis.
Yeah, there's a massive competitive environment here. Yeah. You've won loads of games when the Six Nations was on, so there's depth, massive depth as well. But everyone plays the same way. Like when you came over, again, did you realise about that, how this team play, how connected they are and playing the same way?
Yeah, I think I probably again didn't understand how they managed to do that, and then I think when you train after a few weeks of training, we almost train in intensity. It feels quicker than the game sometimes. There's constant offload. The breakdown is so quick, and you're encouraged to express yourself and go out there, and you're not hounded if you make a mistake. It's like, no, come on, right, try again. Obviously, if you're making a silly decision, you're going to be getting told off, but the focus is in trying to improve your skills, trying to test yourself in training, and I've enjoyed that a lot. I think for the first couple of weeks, I was like, right, I've really got to make sure I'm going after even the basic catch pass skills, offload skills, because that's what this club's known for and renowned for, and playing that offloading, quick rugby is something that I want to add to.
Cool. We've talked about this a little bit before, but I remember the one thing that stuck with me was the contact rules are the same in much you do here than they were at Wasps when you were training there. Yeah. But what happened on the pitch was completely different. Yeah. Can you just explain to people back home, the rules? So in training, the rules are...
Well, here quite often it will be quite clearly laid out whether you're allowed to compete at the breakdown or not. That'll be very structured, and Hugo will keep a nice eye on that and make sure it will call us in. Like what you don't want is someone at 100%, someone at 70%, and that's when injuries happen and things go wrong. So I think quite often most of the trainings on a Tuesday will be a bit more intense, a bit more shoulders on, get in front. And
so people trying to get their bodies in front, hold it down.
Exactly, stick the tackle. And then towards the back end of the week that tails off. So sometimes on a day 2 we'll be allowed to go after the breakdown, but obviously same rules apply like in games. Not trying to croc roll, it's just normal clear outs, and there's always a bit of a if the opportunity's there, you go for it. If it's a bit of a cheeky one because it's training, you've got to leave it. So I think there's a good understanding of the level here, and if that sometimes raises because of tensions and stuff in the session, the coaches will pull it in and bring that back down.
What's one thing you miss about England? Nando's.
I have to say Nando's.
The English breakfast?
It's actually a big one, so you probably judge me, but hummus starter.
Come over.
Chicken thighs, peri chip.
The beans, hash browns.
Boneless platter.
Garlic bread.
Sausage.
Medium, so it's 4 thighs, double breasts.
5 hot wings.
Then garlic bread, chips and coleslaw.
Beans?
Yeah.
Just standard. Yeah. There you go, a flavour of what you get here on FRUK Rugby. If you're enjoying the content, if you appreciate the fact that we're here bringing you French rugby and live French rugby for free across the UK and Ireland, then drop a little thumbs up on the video so you can help spread the word, and leave a comment, but most importantly, subscribe so you don't miss the rest of the games. We've got rugby coming all the way. We've got interviews. We're out in France. We're bringing you the technical stuff with Joe Worsley's expertise and his contact book as well. So we are here for you. We absolutely love French rugby, so much so we're bringing you this live here for the barrage, the semi-final and the final, where one team will get through to the top 14, the biggest domestic league in the world. That is the prize for the 6 teams that have made it to the playoffs. This evening, we are halfway through watching 4th against 5th, Provence in a commanding position up against the visitors of Soyaux, Angoulême. Tomorrow night, again, 7:50 we get underway, 8 p.m. kickoff UK and Ireland time, and that will be Montauban visiting Colomiers, who finished 3rd. The semi-finals next week, and it's Joe Worsley's Brive who wait on the Friday night, and the top of the table side. Joe, I've just completely brain farted. Are you there, Joe Worsley? He hasn't taken talk back off, have you, mate? Come back into the room. Soyaux, Angoulême waiting. You can see, I want to know if Johnny May was actually chipping in French. I think he was. As Soyaux, Angoulême get ready to return to the field. They've got a big job on in this second half. So many great comments coming in, and thank you. I really, really appreciate that. One question, Joe, which I want to get your thoughts on. How does the top end of Pro D2 compare to... Oh, Joe Worsley cannot hear me currently. We'll sort that out. Well, the question that was asked, which I can't answer nearly as well as Joe Worsley will, so I will get his answer once that technical issue is sorted. But how does the top end of Pro D2 compare to the URC and the Premiership? And the Championship was even mentioned. I've got very much a soft spot for the Championship in England, but there is absolutely no comparison whatsoever between the leagues. This is elite, this is professional. International rugby players have come in here, and you can see Tamana Harrison there being exactly one of them. That was one of the moments of the half, given as a try. Soyaux Angoulême fans will argue that was maybe a knock-on. What you cannot argue about is the absolute power of that man, Tamana Harrison, named in the Midi Olympique Team of the Week. And he's done an absolute job for his team. A little bit of opportunism from Boudiger as well on the wing, with 1 try, 4 tries to 1 in that first half. Faricia did get the opener for Soyaux Angoulême. Joe Worsley, did you just nip off to the little boys' room? Is that what just happened there, mate?
Yeah, I got a bladder like a walnut.
Question that's come in. How does the top end of Pro D2 compare to the URC, the Premiership and the Championship, mate?
They're different competitions. So this league and French rugby in general tends to be more physical. Slightly less ball in play, but more physical rugby. Change in tempo as opposed to loads of fast ball and structure. Whereas the English Premiership, there are some teams in that league who can hold on to the ball brilliantly for many, many phases. And they would take some of these French teams into a place where their lungs would hurt and they'd probably break them down after a while. But the top teams in this league, I think, would compete in either the URC or the Premiership. The URC is a funny one because some weeks you have incredible teams at Leinster, the other week you got their third choice side. So that's a hard one to judge. But the English Premiership, certainly, I think the budgets of the top 6 teams probably aren't far off the bottom 6 teams in the English Premiership. And I believe a number of our teams could compete with some of the teams in the English Premiership towards the bottom for sure.
Well, one of the things that is a universal in rugby is that physical domination goes a long way, and that is the story of the first half where Provence lead 29-10. Another question that's come up in the comments, and as Soyaux Angoulême just step out onto the pitch, was how you're setting up your Brive defence this season without getting too nosy, Joe, although I love a bit of rugby nose, and clearly so do the people in the comments, which I'm all for. But
yeah, let's save the rugby nose stuff for later, but this Angoulême team, for example, to get those big hits against more physical players, you can't be waiting for them to run at you and tackle. So you've got to be working hard enough to get your spacings, to get the right position, to come off the line, accelerate, and then hit them behind the gain line. As soon as you lose a collision, it's tougher to do that. You've got less time. This Angoulême team needs someone to step up, someone to start making big hits so the team can get their system in place behind it and then stay on top with more big hits on top of that again and again. That's what they need to do when Provence have got the ball. It's not an easy thing to do. It can take seasons to build the ability for a team to understand how hard they need to work, when they need to work, and physically be able to do it as well. So if Angoulême can step up in this second half, produce a few big hits, get those defensive turnovers they need, and play the few options that fall their way, you never know, huh?
And maybe Alexander Ruiz there, looking at his body language and the amount he's chatting to the fourth official, hoping some of the 50-50s maybe go their way. It's go time. 40 minutes left in Angoulême's season unless they can overcome this 19-point half-time deficit. The Aix-en-Provence coach, Mauricio Reggiardo, looking much more relaxed at this stage, and no wonder, as his team field the ball. And let's see if that wind is still as strong as it was in the first half. Certainly looks like it from that exit from Arthur Colville.
Wow, what a kick, huh? That's an incredible kick. Yes, it's windy, but still, the connection he had with that. New balls or no new balls, I think he'll be happy with that one.
I have to say, actually, just on, you were talking about the design of the ball. Brive, your team, I'm not just being biased because it's your team, Joe. The stash is top draw.
It's mouth-watering, isn't it? The black kit especially.
Well, it's the men in black here that are in the leads. That wasn't... I was going to say, it didn't look straight to me.
Yeah, it wasn't straight. It wasn't straight. If the Provence team had not got a man in the air to compete, now they just let it go. But because one of the Provence team jumped and competed, because it's not straight, the scrum will now be for them. Another scrum in a great attacking position. Could be a penalty. At the very least, it's going to be a great attacking position for Provence.
It looks like Paul Melez has switched sides of the scrum. That's another string to his bow then. Being able to scrummage on both sides.
Yeah, if he plays loose head and tight head, that's pretty incredible. The Toulouse players have such an understanding of rugby. It's phenomenal. They get taught in a different way from everybody else. And players like him are special, huh?
Well, Provence, well, not the most convincing loose head scrum there, but his team have won a penalty. Finau not able to field it. We've got Thomas Sall on for George North. Still, I was keeping an eye on the touchline to see if we could see the extent of George North's injury, but we can see the extent of Tamana Harrison's run. Barnstorming again. Having a big game. Jimmy Gopper feeds to the outside. The ball goes over the top, and there's Lepeg just over his head. Tackle just sliding over the top of the Provence man on the edge. Johnny May in there on the steal.
Sometimes the ball just sits up on these synthetic pitches. That time it really set up. That was an incredible kick. I think on a grass pitch that would have bounced into his hands. Lepeg's top try scorer. He's got an eye for the line, but that could have been an incredible kick and try. What a shame it bounced so high for Provence.
Yeah, trying to add to his 19 he's got this season. 17 tries last year. Another player from Stade Francais. Seems to be a happy hunting ground for Aix-en-Provence, where they've picked up quite a few of their players.
Yeah, I think trying to sell Provence, Aix-en-Provence, is probably not a hard job.
It's really not. Oh, Johnny May, has he managed to? No, not quite. No, I mean, I've mentioned it already, but if I'll tell you what, if you wanted to have a weekend away watching rugby, but also keep the other half happy looking at art galleries or sitting in nice coffee shops, Aix-en-Provence is just perfect. Amazing.
If you want to have a breakup of the worst night of your life, you can go to some other cities, but we won't say which ones.
Now you're talking. Here we go then. Provence at the second attempt managed to get the ball back. Piazzoli. Harrison again. He's just so hard to stop. Colville takes the ball quickly. Quick lift. And a quick clean, and the ball's coming back. This could be curtains at this early stage in the second half. Gopeth is waiting. Harrison cannot pick the ball. Already advantage. There was nothing wrong with that, the ref saying. Or is he reaching for his pocket? There's definitely a bit of handbags going on, that's for sure.
Yeah, there were several penalties there. That last one, if he judges that a penalty, that could be yellow, but didn't see it clearly. I have to wait and see what the referee does here.
Looked like he was reaching for his pocket briefly. Let's have a look at what happened. Tackling the 9.
Il y a deux fautes, le 4 qui n'est pas à 10 mètres, qui plaque, mais il est en train de se replier, c'est pénalité. Vous, c'est délibéré, vous plaquez le relayeur, c'est carton jaune.
Yeah, Sekeli Nabu sent to the naughty step.
Yeah, so when you are in the 22, and in one sequence of play they give a penalty, they're not 10 metres, give another one, and then the third one, him diving over, tackling the 9 before he can play the ball, that results in a yellow card every time.
Nabu came up with Soyaux Angoulême from National into Pro D2. He's been with them for 6 seasons now, the big Fijian. And he adds a bit of heft that they lack compared to Provence. And I think we might just see that advantage pressed home here.
I know, it's again looking ominous. I mean, George Tizzy's coming on now. This guy can just create something out of nothing, finish it off as well. He's an incredible player. He's been injured for a while. Let's hope we see him get his hands on the ball and do something special today. But physical, battle-wise, this second half is pretty much, the first 4 minutes has gone the same way as the last 20 minutes of the first half. Some great kicking and territory from Provence, backed up by some physical play, and they've been camped in that 22 for a while.
Jules Plisson holding his crutch. We won't see him in the playoffs, but he'll be hoping that he'll be wearing that jersey in the top 14 again. Little grin. I'm just disappointed we didn't get another reunion with him with Courtney Laws again.
Yeah, they had special time together. Oh my days.
Scrum for Provence is big. Harrison couldn't take it at the first attempt. The penalty advantage is there. Provence have free ball. And they have their opponents busting long at the minute to try and keep up. Malaise with the carry. Taking the phases. You feel there is going to be space on one of the edges. Can they find it now?
Johnny May still got the gas to stop that one. They could take a scrum here. I think the scrum is really dominating the opposition scrum now. So Provence, if they go scrum again, another penalty. We could end up in yellow card territory yet again. Angoulême go down to 13, then it really is curtains at that point.
Well, their head coach is saying 3, was he? Reggiardo, he's a former prop. I was just thinking he might like the scrum himself.
You would have thought they'd gone for it, but anyway, he wants to take it out to more than 3 scores.
Bird in the hand, 2 in the bush. Yeah, this is a 3-game project, they'll feel. It's all about the top 14. This a step on the journey. Grenoble waiting for them next week.
Imagine an ex-international referee now turned coach, and you're the 4th official. It's a struggle to argue with him about stuff.
I think I've got a message that Welling Rugby Club are watching this one. Do you know, that's one thing I love the thought of, Joe, is that Thursday night training for a lot of clubs in England, across Ireland, Scotland, Wales, Thursday night training, get it on in the clubhouse, get us on.
Definitely. I can see them all in the club bar now eating chili con carne and chips, watching a bit of rugby. Perfect.
Some things don't change, are they? I hope they never do. I'm sure these lads have Jaffa cakes and jelly babies before the match as well. Johnny May, that's what we've seen him do so many times over the years. For Gloucester, for Leicester, for England. Now for Soyaux Angoulême. Unless they can turn things around pretty sharpish, this will be the last time he does it this season. There's the man Joe mentioned. Powerful carrier, George Tisley, former All Blacks Sevens international. Setting a target for once, Briat. His twin brother also plays, unavailable at the moment, but is another unit. Johnny May got a welcoming committee there from the Provence back row. He's just got back to his feet and shaking it off, though. There is space on the left-hand touchline. Well, there's certainly numbers on the touchline. We'll see if there's space. They go narrow again. Critical that Angoulême come away with something here. Harrison again at the heart of the defensive effort. Slow ball once more. Giboin, talismanic leader, Spanish international. Can he conjure something? Tisley as well rides the first tackle, stays on his feet. He's fighting. Getting into a shape, but as Joe mentioned earlier, not able to make the dents in attack that can mean they set their shape going forward. And Corentin Glenat again points for the ball to go down the left-hand touchline. Johnny May trying his best again. Able support. Giboin just managing to hold on to the ball. Trying to find a spark and a bit of inspiration. They're going nowhere. They're going backwards, if anything. Provence just happy to shepherd them. Win those collisions. Even Jimmy Gopperth. When a 41-year-old is winning the collisions and pushing you into touch, you know it might not be your evening.
Yeah, that is a prime example of power winning the day. But there was one opportunity that Angoulême had there. Botica, if he'd been playing, he would have taken that opportunity. When Johnny May got smashed in the 22, there was a huge hole in front of the 10. He'd thrown the dummy, and then he gave the ball to Johnny May. But initially, when he started throwing the dummy, the defender had already moved on to Johnny May, who the two-man tackled. Someone like Botica, if he was playing, he'd be through that hole and scoring. That's where Angoulême has struggled again today. When those few opportunities have dropped in their lap, they just haven't taken them.
Let's have a look at what happened after the ball went into touch here. So that was the moment.
Yeah, just before that, if he'd carried on running, stepped into the space, I think he would have had at least some good go forward. Behind that, they're only 10 meters from line with fast ball. If you're getting slow ball after slow ball, to break that deadlock is extremely difficult. You're better off sometimes putting a kick through and pressuring the opposition rather than just playing back into your own half like you saw there.
Well, you saw the reinforcements coming for Soyaux Angoulême. They need some energy. They need a spark. And it's going to come in the form of, well, they've got some handy players on the bench. You can see from the body language of the guys leaving the field. It's been a tough shift.
Yeah, Yassim, the number 3, always looks like that, so that's no different. But yeah, the other guys were severely disappointed, and they should be. Their
One to
dream
watch
of
is
getting
Hubert
through is gone.
Texier, the number 20 there at the back, just with the lift. He's an absolute terrier, like smaller, quicker. Can maybe speed up the ball on the deck, which is what they've been lacking. But firstly, they've got to start winning some of these collisions. Everything is being soaked up by Provence. Something to play with now down the blind side. A hard line there. First time we've really seen Arthur Proulx manage to get even a half break. We've got an advantage for Soyaux Angoulême. Quick, energy. They need to drop the hammer. They know this is the moment.
Oh,
there's the
nice
lift. Proulx to Tilsley.
Yeah, that's what they need to do. Any chance they get to play fast, they've just got to go for it. But they've given the ball up and let Provence play quickly. Oh my days.
It is on. Soulan. He's got Lepeg chasing the ball ahead of him. And it's going to fall for... Oh. Thought it was going to fall for Lepeg for a second. Now we go. The game's busting wide open now. The two Soyaux Angoulême wingers are back. Johnny May tidying things up. Another penalty. It's getting loose. Loose and feisty.
Yeah, Tamara Harrison's really, I think it was him again throwing himself around. I think the player might get in trouble here. We'll have to wait and see. He pushes him after the whistle, forces him back over the ruck, and he falls over nastily. Let's see if anything happens over that. But what a phase of play. You should never give the opposition the ball. Never let them play quickly in that situation. All your teams close to the touchline, if they got players wide, they do what Provence did.
Rugby players aren't wired, Joe, to start thinking about next week with half an hour to go in this one. Because, as you say, this game is sort of bubbling over a little bit, and players just need to remember discipline can have, or ill discipline, sorry, can have consequences.
Exactly. If you get a yellow card or a red card and get banned for next week, then you'll be gutted. If you do something stupid and get injured again, you'll be gutted. The game's not won yet. I know 22 points is a lot. If it gets down to 70 minutes and 22 points ahead, then maybe players can start to relax mentally a bit, but it's something you can't really do in a game of rugby.
There we go. That was the kind of move that Angoulême have been waiting for, trying to create an overlap. Again, though, just the defence has been solid, Joe.
Look at a Toulouse player prop. See his attitude? He always wants to play. He gets knocked into touch. Most props would not think about playing the fast ball. He's brought up in Toulouse. There they play quickly. Off they go.
Appreciation from the Stade Maurice Davids for the efforts of Paul Mellès today. He has been excellent, as has that man, Tamara Harrison.
Yeah, I think they brought him off to protect him for next week.
Yeah. I think Mauricio Reggiardo was thinking similarly to us. There's other battles.
Also,
in fact,
they've got a
Joe, how does the replacement? Just remind me how the replacements work. There is an element of rotation that goes on.
Yeah, in the top 14, you can come back on if you want to. It's a rotation. So some players, sometimes you have props playing 30 minutes, they'll go off. Another prop will come on for 30 minutes, and then the other guy comes back on for the last 20. So it's not like the Premiership. It's not quite like some other leagues. It's a little bit different. One of the reasons such big beasts can play in this league is because of that reason. But Jalagoni is on now, the Georgian international. So Tamara Harrison's gone off, but you got a really class player coming on. Good ball carrier, good offloader.
Yeah, did you coach him at Georgia, Joe?
Yeah, coached him in Georgia. Great guy.
And bang on cue, there was Tonika Jalagonia feeding the ball. They've gone back 20 metres, but they have the pill. And at this stage in the game, 22 points up.
They'll go territory. Colvin made an awful pass. They're a team who are pragmatic. As soon as it slows down, you can see what you see now.
And Colville's kick, followed by the chase. Jalagonia, that man, keen to make an impact. Guess he's fighting for a spot. He'll want to start next week, I'm sure. Should they get there, I should say. It's looking like they may. Soyaux Angoulême not out of the woods yet. That's the one man. He's just there over the ruck, helping his scrum half to give him a platform. But we have not seen Masibaka to the extent that we have previously. And he is the talisman for this team.
Yeah, they've not given him any go forward today.
And there is an opportunity. There's space, there's numbers. Finau holds it in for the first one. Sal dinks ahead. There is Masibaka, and that's his. All he can do so far is tidy up the ball 5 meters from his own line.
So this is the nightmare situation. This player's going to get absolutely piled. I'm actually quite liking him there. They should have flown in, smashed him as hard as they can, because behind that the kick's even more of a nightmare.
You'd be cutting up that clip for your defensive presentation on Monday morning, I'm sure, Joe.
That'd be one of the few negatives Provence have had tonight.
They've definitely got their foot on the throat of Soyaux Angoulême. Lepeg to Gopeth to Jalagonia, who's been everywhere since he's come on in the last couple of minutes. And it sweeps to the right. Piazzoli feeding the winger, and Pifaletti joined earlier this year from Saracens. The opportunity came up, too good to turn down.
Yeah, again, that power coming through. Pifaletti, incredible ball carrier, taking it forward. Behind that, player hit a short line. Angoulême player smashed him despite him not having the ball. Another penalty in the 22. But again, Angoulême, poor exit. Provence power coming in. Provence's exit was fantastic. The kick was fantastic. Jalagonia smashed them. They get driven back into their 22. It's just a one-way traffic at the moment.
So we've had some comments, Joe, about the lack of kicking. We've seen some good kicking, like you say, for territory, but not a huge amount of it. Is that the wind, do you think, or is that just the status of the game, how these two teams play?
The people are used to English rugby. No, it's not that. I'm joking. It's I mean, you saw Colville put in an incredible kick there, but they've been dominating the territory, and the only other territory kicks they've had from Angoulême have tended to be longer kicks. Angoulême haven't gone for many contestables. So as a result, you would see less contestables coming your way, because again, when Provence receive their kicks, they're counter-attacking or putting a long kick back, and then you have a situation where they're getting slowed down. The ball's not getting slowed down for them to have to resort to using a pressure kick. So you've seen less as a result. And Angoulême have had to chase this game from an early point. So for them, they've a few times today, they may have, if they were 10-all, for example, gone for the pressure kick and the 9 would have kicked it. But they're chasing the game at the moment. So all this results in less contestable box kicks than you would see normally.
Well, the kick that mattered for Aix-en-Provence is that from Jimmy Gopeth again. Evergreen, the immortal Jimmy Gopeth. 15-point lead, 25-point lead, I should say, has opened up.
But just look at that one long kick.
Yeah.
A terrible kick coming back at you.
Well played, Joe.
And then off they go again, Provence.
Mate, it's your first time doing this. I think you're doing great. I'll let you off that. Anyway, we're on YouTube. What does it matter?
The expletives stay out. A shocking kick, I was going to say.
That's what I heard, mate.
That's the other thing. Provence like to keep the ball on the pitch and have long sequences of play. If you end up box kicking, you're probably going to have less opportunities than going long in terms of getting into kick battles, long sequences of play, counter-attack opportunities. So it's just a different way of approaching the pressure game.
I don't want to sound patronising when I say this, but whatever happens this evening, the season that Soyaux Angoulême defying the odds to get into the top 6 it's been a special season.
Yeah, I think I was worried their final was last week. Their final was qualifying for this. The emotional effort to get there. got them over the line, then boom, they come down this week. And they've come down, they're playing against a team that's a nightmare for them because of the power they have. Can shut them down, can dominate them physically, and they just can't get fast ball. And if they can't get fast ball and can't accelerate the play, they're a team that can't create many opportunities. And the opportunities they do create, they're missing some key players who could have taken them.
And slow ball is exactly what they got there. Hubert Texier can do nothing with that. But they will live to fight another day. We have seen more of the Provence big guns taken off. There's one of them there on the bench. Good day's work for Tamana Harrison, but the captain, Arthur Colville, also gone off. Definitely think they're starting to think 1 week ahead.
Yeah, for sure. And remember, they can come back on. So if Angoulême suddenly scores 3 tries, you could always bring him back on.
Masibaka in the first receiver position there in the scrum half position. It goes over his head to the replacement 9 and to Johnny May off his wing. They'll want to go out throwing some punches even if they do, but it's absolutely essential now with 22 minutes left in this game that they come away with something. I've said that the last 2 times they've been in Provence's 22, however. They came away with nothing on those occasions. What can they do here? 2 minutes out. Has that been stolen? Provence hands on that ball.
Oh, that's one way to get around them. So turnover to a turnover. No one was ready for what happened after. So Provence had ripped it out of the ball carrier's hands. And as they fell down, I think the ball came back out for the Angoulême player.
I think Isaac Rodder, or one of the Provence players, certainly is on his knees, holding his face. Claret to show. Oh no, it's the. I think Rodder's another player that's been removed from the field. There's a lot going on there.
Yeah, I didn't see what happened at the afters. I'm not sure if somebody gave a cheap shot or came in late. Let's have a look now.
Il y a une suspicion de jeu déloyal sur le numéro 6 noir, ici sur le plaquage. Parce que le numéro 6 noir fait en avant, il y a avantage et ensuite il y a essai. Donc il faut repartir du ruck, s'il te plaît. Il faut repartir du ruck, suspicion de jeu déloyal sur le numéro 6
so you give the try. He thinks that the number 6 for Provence did something after to the player who scored the try.
I think it was Piazzoli who's the man on the floor. Getting some treatment, so I think it may have happened before this.
Yeah, it must be over here when...
Well, Hubert Texier wasn't happy about something. That was after he'd put the ball down, though. There, was it? Ooh. Was that a... Could have been an illegal shot, potentially, from Motu Matu, who fans of London Irish and Gloucester might remember.
I think does the 16 give a cheap shot after and then
look, that's what I was just
on the head.
That's what I was just looking at. Maybe a no arm.
The 20 is the 20, but it doesn't look like much. Oh, there. You see 16 there.
16 which colour, Joe? There's so much going on.
I know, I just saw a little cheap shot there as well.
There's just something a little bit comfortingly old school about Pro de Dojo that I really like.
The physical violence.
Yeah. not condoning illegal play. I think there might be, that was it. Motu Matu, I think they were looking at...
He hits on the ball. I think his back might touch the face of the carrier.
I mean, he would probably argue it's hard to wrap when there's that many players.
Yeah, I think
he's
fine. I think he's fine there. He sticks his stuff on the ball. And the 20 does something stupid and off they go. But hey, let's just get on with the game.
Is that what Texier wasn't happy about?
No, he doesn't let him get up, basically, and he's annoyed about it. It's nothing. Let's just crack on, guys.
Yeah, come on. There's a game of rugby to play, and Angoulême might feel if they get this try, then potentially, with the conversion, they'll be within 3 scores. They might feel like there's a game to win. I'll say that, they're within 3 scores now. Just doing my maths, getting the abacus out.
Yeah. In the words of Mark Regan, they could be a pheasant from the ashes.
Did he really say that in the dressing room? 2007.
I actually don't know what's real or what's fake about him anymore.
I've heard that anecdote so many times from different people. It's almost like Mark Regan's story, and all of the England players of that era used it as their after-dinner speech.
Well. There's a mythical one as well. Apparently, he confused Grenoble and Chernobyl in a team meeting once, with hilarious consequences. But anyway, that's another story for another time.
Let's see what Kevin Bradley's saying about this.
I think I'm going to shake hands.
Okay, je vous ai déjà prévenu tout à l'heure pour des accrochages. Ici, il y a un avantage parce qu'en avant, il n'y a pas de jeu déloyal. Derrière, l'essai est marqué. Très bien. C'est un accrochage qui est encore derrière.
Yeah, so
le joueur au sol, vous le
after the try was scored, he grabbed him and it wasn't even a cheap shot. Accrochage, like you're grabbing someone and turning them over. It's not even. Don't know why they spent so long analysing that.
Well, the try's been given. Hubert Texier, one of the replacements for Angoulême, has given his team a glimmer of hope.
18 points. 18 points in 15 minutes.
It's been done before.
Yeah. If Ben Botica was playing, Tisley's on the pitch, you never know. You never know, but it's a long shot considering the way this game's gone up to now.
Do you remember an amazing comeback you were part of, Joe?
I actually don't remember like a 30-point comeback like we pretty much need to have now. I'm sorry. We were always well ahead.
You were just on seek and destroy missions, mate. You weren't worrying about the scoreboard.
Yeah, who cares about scoring tries?
That was other people's problem. You were just there nuking them in defence.
Nuking them and sitting people down. That was
exactly. And you had a fine career doing it, Joe, let me say. You're doing all right tonight as well. Angoulême.
Come Tisley, a bit of space for him.
Ball in one hand. 7 skills coming to the fore. They can afford to roll the dice. There's no losing bonus points here. There's no...
They're actually going to kick it here as well.
It looked like he was shaping up to kick it as well.
They're setting up for a kick now.
Well, I suppose you've got to change the picture. That Provence defence has been on it. It's all about the chase.
Oh,
Johnny May was close. Not close enough to get to Bougeur, though.
Ooh. There's an edge here.
Well, that can't have been Johnny May I mentioned a moment ago, because unless he's teleported to this side of the pitch. Shepherd in Provence one side. They go back to the right. Up it goes from Jimmy Gopperth. Happy to play the territorial game. Try and squeeze the life out of Angoulême.
But here, I think they get good change from this last sequence of play. Well, that's a great kick as well. In the 5-metre channel, 22-22. What a kick.
Jules de Beck giving up on the kicking contest. He wants to run it back into Provence's half. And the same story. It's different players. Replacements are on, but it's the same story. Physical domination from Provence.
They had a chance to play quickly there, and the player just then, the last right, oh, he's gone through anyway.
There's the man Joe was talking about, Tilsley. What a difference he's made. Arthur Proult on his shoulder. And that's the sort of impact Angoulême needed. The ball juggled. It is still on the edge. Not really. It's going to be intercepted. And the opportunity's gone.
That was an entertaining sequence of play. You saw Angoulême actually really well use their kicking game, and they got a counter-attack. Yes, their player was dominating the collision, but despite that, Tisley used a little bit of space he had to make something happen, something special. That's what they need to do. That's what they should have done before. Okay, that's the difference between an Angoulême team who can threaten, they play a bit of territory, get the right moment to play, as opposed to that Angoulême team that's playing phase after phase and getting smashed time after time. Boom, step.
This was a great break. Step, fend, power, and the offload. But yeah, the cover defence was good.
Yeah.
Scramble.
And again, winding up a huge slow pass like that is an invitation for a winger. They're lucky that wasn't more painful.
What are the Brive boys doing tonight, Joe? Or tomorrow, I guess, more's the point, because that's your opponent next week.
This game, I'd imagine most of them are watching at home. Tomorrow, we're having a barbecue. Kids and families are coming along. We'll be watching this on a big screen in one of the big rooms in the stand. Oh, dear.
Lepeg is away. 19 tries to his name. It's going to be number 20. First from the postseason for him. And that, you feel, as the arm is in the air, is the game.
Yeah. Who was it that knocked that ball on? They're going to be having nightmares tonight. That was brutal play.
The party can start in Provence. Oh, that is brutal.
Yeah. Frassier,
the man who set the game going with the opening try has just given his team the kiss of death, really.
Yeah, it's a shame because one more score there. They were looking good for the first time in a while. Would have at least made it far more interesting. It's going to be 1-1 now. That's some strange cheering. That's almost like a robot dancing / I don't know what.
Do you get one of those red armbands next week, Joe?
I'm not sure I'm allowed a red armband. I'll be. I don't know what would you call it that he was doing there, the coach. Screaming / dancing. I'll be up in the stand.
You'll be doing busting those moves in private. Lepeg, tap of the badge, kiss of the badge. He's having a good time here, that's for sure, this season. Angoulême, what pride have they got? What can they muster? Johnny Mays, I mean, he's been all effort, all heart. It's not going Johnny Mays' way. All that of Soyaux Angoulême. Nice bit of skill there to pick the ball up at the second attempt. Prult, he's coming more into the game as it's becoming more of a lost cause. I was hoping to see that sort of direct impact from him earlier in the game. Lamar Delay on the carry, the replacement. Masibaka just loitering there on the outside. He's in to support his teammate. As Prult again finds the edge. Yeah, they're going to fight to the end, and there's still 15 minutes left to go in this game. The winner of this will face Grenoble next week. Grenoble have finished top of Pro D2. I think Masibaka knew he had advantage there.
So they're going to kick for touch, and he wants them to call a 6+1. Line out afterwards. From that, I'm sure we'll see the maul's been destroyed every time. Maybe with the replacements on for Provence, they think they can take them. Or they'll do a move with Masibaka, trying to rip the ball and play out into the 10 channel where currently Lepeg is standing.
If you're enjoying the rugby this evening, remember there's more tomorrow night. There's more next week in the semi-finals. There's more Saturday the 7th of June in the grand final where one team will win that Holy Grail, a spot in the top 14. And then there's games on FR UK Rugby every single game week next year. It still feels amazing to say that, I have to say.
Isn't it special? It'd be awesome.
So good. This is proper rugby, and it's finally got a home in the UK and Ireland. We're really happy to have you on board. Claret has been spilled. Arms are getting iced. There's some beaten up bodies in that Provence team. They've been far and away the better team so far. They want to finish strong as well. And Joe, that just kind of sums up Angoulême's game so far, doesn't it?
Yeah, they're trying to set up a kind of fake maul and rip it out the back. But when you set up a fake maul, it's a lot easier to get smashed back. And because the player didn't play the ball cleanly, you end up on the floor. Oof. And that's just forcing it. Not dominating the collision, trying an offload into touch. Again, that's just physical dominance from Provence paying off again.
And they have brought some of their guys back on. I just saw Tamana Harrison. prowling.
Yeah, Colville's come back on for Finau, so they're trying to give everyone a break. The guys that come off earlier are coming on to cover for the players like Finau, who is a player you want to protect.
How much of your job as a coach, we're just seeing some of the coaching stuff there for Provence, how much of your job is kind of done when game day does, and how much do you actually do in the game?
Game day is, you'd hope everything was done before, and the players are capable of adjusting the little things they can adjust on the pitch. Because all you can really change is setups and a few organised structural calls, because the rest of the systems and everything are bedded in over months and years. So play like we just saw with Angoulême, they'd have practiced over and over. And with Botica and other players playing, they would have got it right. You can't just change that side of the game very easily. You can't change physical dominance easily. You can only change simple organisational things.
Well, I think the crowd feel a little bit more comfortable there in Provence as well at the minute.
Yeah, give it another 5-10 minutes and they'll be ready to have a sing and celebrate in town. With lobster and salmon and whatever else you got served.
Honestly, well, I would take a left straight out of Marseille Airport. I do like Marseille, but Provence is something else. Or Aix, sorry. Do they call it Aix, or they don't call it because Provence is the region?
Yeah, so the club is supported by the region. Provence put a lot of money into it. As Aix is kind of the wealthy town in that area. Marseille is obviously the big populated city, but on average the people are poorer there. But Aix is the wealthy place, and they're really behind their rugby team. It's a team that's gone from strength to strength, like we talked about earlier. A team capable of going in the top 14, and this year that looks like they're going to be contenders if they keep playing like this.
Do you know the club, Aix-en-Provence Rugby Club, was only actually founded, how about this for a stat, 13 years before Jimmy Gopworth was born.
Oh, so 1805.
1970 it was founded, so a very recent rugby club by French standards, or by any rugby club standards, to be honest. But it was
that is an incredible story.
Yeah, Maurice David, the man whose name is above the stadium, he was a resistance fighter in World War II.
Oh, cool.
Won the Legion of Honor, Croix de Guerre, the Resistance Medal. But his big passion was rugby, and he was one of the founders of the club and its first president. And I'm sure he'd absolutely love to see what's happened here at his club.
Oh, definitely.
As Tilsley
again.
Yeah, again. Just watch the impact he's had and wonder a little bit why it was, well, either why he didn't start or why it was left so long.
I guess he didn't start purely because he's not match fit, just come back from injury. Because look at the impact he had has been huge. A team that was relatively blunt when he's on it, he's creating chances.
Nonetheless, they are going backwards.
We say as he gets battered.
Yeah. Cursed him, got smashed. Not totally his fault. He was given a bit of a hospital pass because they were just going backwards, not able to move on to the ball.
Yeah, it was a bit of a desperate pass. The Provence team, Aix-en-Provence, has also been supported by the current president and benefactor, who owns a huge travel company and has really been behind that team for the last 10 years. A man super passionate about his rugby. And he's driven this club to become what it is now, because like I said, it has grown massively in the last 10 years, going from a relatively small club into one that is capable and has the budget and the ground and the players of playing in the top 14.
We'll definitely be trying to find out what has happened to George North, if he'll play any part in that game next week after going off with an injury. A couple of tackles that trapped his knee. Hope he's all right.
Yeah, one, I think his foot got trapped, like his ankle, that second one, but the first one looked horrible. I'm surprised he carried on after that.
If you had to compare Aix to, as Lepeg just celebrating with the crowd, all the little mini victories and the big ones with a try, but no, if you had to compare Aix to a town in England, Wales, Scotland, Ireland, where would you go? I was thinking Bath, maybe.
Yeah, I'd say Bath's probably the most. Yeah, with a good rugby club and a good city, yeah, Bath's beautiful. Aix is an old, beautiful Roman city as well, so a good comparison.
And Soyaux Angoulême, that's they call it the balcony of the southwest. It's overlooking the Charente River. I've not been, but I hear that's lovely too. Have you been on an away day there?
Oh, yeah, but the balcony's not really selling it for me. I think they've come up with a better one. I've actually not been there.
You demand a terrace. Penthouse.
A rooftop.
The penthouse
rooftop
of the
terrace.
southwest. Would that work?
That would get me interested in Angoulême, yeah. No, it's meant to be a beautiful little city. But again, a club that's grown exponentially in the last 10 years. But with the lobster and the weather, I think Aix-en-Provence would be my preferred holiday destination of the two.
They will have some players leaving this season, but yes, as Joe said earlier, it's not a hard sell. And Tamana Harrison, there is a man that has absolutely loved his time here. 3rd season with the club. 26th appearance this season. And he likes, as well as the lobster, I'm sure, in town, he said he likes driving his Harley Davidson around the French countryside.
Who wouldn't?
And I'm sure he likes being part of a scrum that is that dominant as well. As Jalagonia. Bust to the left. Charlie Gambini. Misplaced pass. Tidied from Lepeg. And they recycle. Harrison there on the carry. There is holes on the edge. Colville trying to find it. Nudge through. Tilsley gets in the way. Penalty advantage coming.
The big Aussie's coming back on. He's manhandled people all day.
He really has. 34 Australian caps he's got. And he's still only 28. He's been around forever.
Yeah.
It's because he got his debut when he was 21.
Looks older than Jimmy Gopperth.
Well, it's fizzling out. We know the result. And the scoreline is largely irrelevant. So it's about pride for Soyaux Angoulême. Can they hold out on their own goal line? Jimmy Gopperth, let's just point out the fact he is still on the field as well.
Yeah. 42. The Colombian's coming off. I'd love to know we have to find him. Let's go to Aix-en-Provence and have a sit down and interview him about his story. How he went from Colombia to Aix-en-Provence would be an interesting one.
Up through the lower leagues as well. Yeah, it's a great story. But and any excuse to go to Aix-en-Provence, Joe. You had me at let's go to Aix.
Ooh.
It's getting untidy now. Lepeg with a little basketball pass over the top. Soulan finds the edge. It's the replacement. Is he in at the corner? Try's been given. I'm sure they'll check this one.
Did he catch his... He went high, George.
Now that might be... Is that the young man?
Yeah, it was the...
Celio Zwiller.
Zwiller.
Yeah, he is 18.
No, is he really?
He's 18. He's an academy product. He has never scored a professional try since he came into the first team this year.
Yeah,
8 appearances, but no tries yet. That may be him breaking his duck for his club.
He's not going to give a yellow because he's already diving it in. But if that's not even a penalty, that would be a bit strange. Generous, even.
So it's a try. It is a try for the young man. That's a memorable night for him.
That was a great finish, considering he had a grown man hanging off his neck.
A large grown man as well at that. Jimmy Gopperth. Again.
Wow.
It's almost like you got the pitching wedge out for that one. Absolutely perfect. He's still got it. They're absolutely loving it.
They've scored more points than his age. It's pretty impressive.
101 tries in the regular season, and they've got a hatful more in this one. They are going to the semi-finals. This is the last time the Stade Maurice David will be standing for their team this season, but I'm sure many of them are going to take that journey to Grenoble, which will be live here on FR UK Rugby next week. The game next Thursday, the semi-final.
Yeah, me too. It's not a million miles from Provence to Grenoble. I'm sure they have many supporters going up to Stade des Alpes to play against a Grenoble team that's been fantastic this year.
Tomorrow night, remember, Colomiers against Montauban. And they're fighting for the right to go to Brive and the Stade Amédée Domenech, which has been a fortress for those Brive fans. It's been the most attended side in Pro D2. And it's going to be absolutely packed to the rafters and bouncing, no doubt. But that's next week. We've got rugby this week. And that game in Colombia should be an absolute cracker. Now, as Angoulême try and salvage something at the end of this game, another entry into the 22. They've had a few of those coming back with nothing. What can they muster on this occasion? Well, first job is, can they just stay in the 22? They've been hit backwards by the defence of Provence. They almost stole that one as well. More direct. Lamar Delay with the offload. Glenat feeding inside, no change. Matu. Masibaka feeding this time. Oh. And they are going to get a try. And you can hear the noise.
That was a beautiful try.
That was a lovely try.
An Angoulême team, they got fast ball and they just stayed on top of it. They stayed on top of it because players are arriving with speed, attacking the spaces around the ball carrier so that he could tip it on if they were there, and if you carry, the defender slide it off. When they play like that, this is what they've been doing this year. And obviously, with people like Botica on the pitch, they can do it better normally. The 10 they've had on today, Glenat has not done too badly, but he's not Botica. And were Botica on the pitch, more of those moments would have happened, and maybe we'd had more of a match than we've had tonight.
The games between the two teams this season, actually, it was a 100-point thriller, like 60 points to 40. I can't remember the exact score, which was the league game here at in Axe. The game at Soyaux Angoulême, 6-6.
Yeah, I think it was an incredible bad weather on that day. But in Aix and Provence, like always, sunshine, and they ended up having a tri-fest.
Well, salvage something from these closing stages. It's not going to count for a great deal in terms of their season, but...
Oh, that could be bad news. Who's that?
Yeah, it does not look comfortable.
No,
is that an arm, or is he holding his hip flexor?
That looks like a shoulder because his arm's not moving. Arm or shoulder.
That's Thomas Sauveterre. Nabu heads in the other direction. Yeah, Sauveterre is his first season at Biarritz as well, mind you. First season since moving from Biarritz. And obviously there's a story unfolding there in Pro D2, which seems like it might have some legs to run. They've officially been relegated automatically of Biarritz from the division for financial irregularities. They are appealing that one, so yeah, another reason to watch the channel and watch that story.
Yeah, there were rumours they might wiggle out of it by changing the guy who lied to the authorities, in effect, who was involved with it. But hopefully they get saved, because it's a sad way to see a good old rugby club go down.
Well, yeah, as they worked so hard to get themselves out of the relegation zone. Some big wins towards the end of the season. Of course, this is the rugby that's at the top end of the season. We're in the final moments of this one. Aix-en-Provence are going through to the semi-finals, convincingly at that, 49-22. Soyaux Angoulême, might they have a last roll of the dice? Just looking at the crowd to see if they're all still hanging around.
Ooh.
And it's Arthur Proulx has an opportunity. Caught, made up for it, Colville.
Mate, Proulx's a good player, huh? Looks like a real good find.
Yeah, very handy player. Masibaka. I'm sure Gregor Townsend's probably watching the feed right now. He's got FR UK Rugby on just to keep an eye on Alex Masibaka. There's somewhere for him to watch some of his players.
Yeah, Masibaka's an elusive, powerful man, huh?
Hasn't been able to have the impact that he's had in most of the games this season in this particular one. And the number of times they keep cutting to Tamana Harrison suggests to me that he may well be a contender for l'homme du match.
Yeah, I think certainly leader. He's carried, and his actions and tackles and physical around the rucks. He's been one of a number of physical players and would deserve that man of the match award.
Very calm looking coach.
Yeah, Mauricio.
Sure, he'll be very satisfied.
Man. He cooks one of the best barbecues you could ever imagine in your life.
How do you know? What, like, did he? Have you been a recipient?
I work with him, and he's Argentinian. Argentinians, I forget the word for it now. Their barbecues are called a certain word, and the barbecue's amazing. Think of Gaucho Grill in his garden. That's what he did for me once.
Was that Castro you were working together?
Yeah, we worked at Cast together for a bit.
Lovely. What does he do? So I want to know what he does with his steaks now. Is it just salt and pepper, or is it any special sauce?
Oh, they have a special kind of spicy stuff they put on it. I can't remember exactly what it was.
Well, I need more
days.
details, Joe Worsley. Work on that.
I will find out.
Well, we're going to have a chance to talk about Mauricio Reggiardo next week, because he has led his team to a convincing victory. Jimmy Gopperth with the grins. He knows he's going to get to wear that black jersey one more time at least. And for Provence, the dream of the top 14 is alive and well. Soyaux Angoulême resigned to defeat, but what a fantastic season it's been for them just to get into the playoffs. They would have seen tonight as a free hit. No harm in coming up second best to a team with a far bigger budget, and on the night a far better team. Hoping, well, that's a positive sign. George North, he is limping, but a smile on his face. Let's hope he's okay for next week. We'll watch that one.
Yeah, the Angoulême players can hold their head up high. They can go back to their balcony, put their feet up and celebrate a great season. But the Provence team are moving on. Onwards and upwards to Grenoble. Let's hope George is fit, but it doesn't look like he will be, huh?
The light show now. Do you know what? Under the lights, they do it properly in France. The Stade de France in Paris for those international games is mad. And they're getting in on the action down in the south as well.
Got a light spectacular up there.
Well, they've earned the right to celebrate. And I tell you what,
we're going to see some disappointed player interviews than happy player interviews now. Let's hope they can speak a bit more freely than they did at half-time.
We will see. Well, Joe Worsley's we're going to put his French to the test. Hey, Joe, we did it, mate. We've just had a game broadcast on FRUK Rugby.
It was so much fun. It was so much fun, and I can't wait for the future in which we can, at half-time, do spectacular things, which you'll see in the future when you tune in and subscribe to the channel.
Yeah, baby steps tonight, big steps in the future, and we're really, really happy and chuffed that you're along for the journey. Do stick around. Let's hear. You've got to hear Joe Worsley's French translation skills. He's a handy rugby coach. He was an all right player, but he might have another career in him. Tamana Harrison, again, getting a lot of attention from the cameras. George Tilsley made a difference when he came on in the second half. Sad faces, but a great season for Soyaux Angoulême. They'll keep growing. They love this song in France as well, don't they?
Yeah, it's complicated words for it, so it's a tough one to learn. But
Hey,
once you get it, huh?
It's not Sweet Caroline. I'm all in. You can't have too much of a good thing.
No, definitely not. Oh, these poor Angoulême players. It'd be a weird feeling inside. They've done something amazing the first time the club has ever done it. Yet they lost and got hammered. This man's still got the hunger, huh? 42 years old. Still a hungry man.
Oh, I love it. I'm sure Jimmy Gopperth would want me to correct you, Joe, that he's 42 next month.
Oh, next month. Oh,
to be clear, but as good as. Anyway, let's have a hear what the losing team have to say.
Un peu trop haute pour cette première de phase finale pour votre club.
Yeah, it's a bit too far for the first barrage match.
Voilà. C'était une grosse équipe, on savait, fallait gérer l'entame.
They're a great team, great powerful team. We didn't know how to respond.
Voilà, c'est vrai que la marche était haute. Maintenant, on va retenir la saison.
It's a big step up. We couldn't quite make it today.
On reviendra plus fort la saison prochaine.
They're going to come back
Est-ce que
next
malgré
season.
tout le travail effectué dans la semaine, vous n'avez pas été un peu rattrapé par l'enjeu parce qu'on vous a pas forcément toujours reconnu ce soir?
Je ne sais pas si c'est l'enjeu. C'est vrai qu'on a eu du mal à mettre en place notre jeu, à déplacer le ballon.
So we really struggled to move the ball, create fast ball, and pass the ball around tonight.
C'est vrai qu'on n'a pas l'habitude de gérer ce genre de match. Maintenant, voilà, aujourd'hui, on a appris.
We haven't got the habit of managing that kind of game, slow ball game.
Elle va rester dans l'histoire de ce club.
Bien sûr, c'est vrai que
Obviously a great moment,
on a cru en nous dès le début, dès le début de saison.
a great season, still remember that.
On sentait qu'on avait de la qualité, qu'on pouvait faire quelque chose. Voilà, on a été réguliers tout au long de la
Yeah,
saison.
we knew the season, we had qualities that we could do something.
C'est une belle récompense. Je remercie nos supporters.
Getting to the barrage is a good reward for what we did.
L'équipe, tout le groupe, franchement, on s'est régalé.
So all the group are really happy and we'll have a good time.
Et on va enchaîner avec un autre Arthur Couville, le capitaine de cette
And Arthur Coville now, the 9 for Provence. It will talk.
C'est fait comme on dit.
Ouais, ça fait du bien. Je pense qu'on a fait un gros match dans les intentions de jeu. Il y avait beaucoup de vent aujourd'hui.
That feels good. We've made a great game. We held on to the ball. For many phases.
On a voulu taper à la récup le coup d'envoi, ça s'est retourné contre
Apart
nous,
from
mais
that first
aujourd'hui, on était
kick-off.
sûr de nos forces, on voulait tenir le ballon. Et je pense que dans
After that, we held on to the ball.
on a été présent aujourd'hui.
We played with great intensity and sped up the play.
Par moment qui fait que l'adversaire va dans notre zone de marque, mais dans l'ensemble, on a fait un bon match quand même.
Good with the discipline in the 22.
Avec ces 2 petites erreurs, vous êtes mis un peu dans le doute, mais derrière, vous n'avez jamais tremblé. C'est l'expérience de la saison dernière qui a fait que vous avez été plus maître de votre destin ce soir.
Did losing last year help you with this experience today?
En tout cas, je pense qu'on a un peu plus de vécu collectif sur ces matchs-là.
Yeah, he says, yeah, the experience last year gave us more belief and desire this year to do better. We took the experience and it helped us in the game tonight. I don't know. Now he's waffling. Grenoble, how do you think? Revenge, because Grenoble beat them at the semi-final last year. Revenge, he doesn't know. So, yeah, he can't say anything now, so he's going to go super dull because he doesn't want to wind up the Grenoble players. So he's saying it's a big game, it's their place, they'll be favourites.
We'll give 110%.
Yeah, Thursday next week, yeah, that kind of stuff. He's clicked into don't wind up the opposition mode then.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. I need to see more of that mascot as well.
I don't know what it was. It was a lobster or some of the stuff they serve up in the...
I think it was a... Was it a... I don't know if it was a fly. I couldn't see what it was.
Yeah.
Anyway, listen. Joe, that was impressive, mate. I've been with you many times in France and seen you doing your thing, but, you know, just translating interviews off the cuff, fair play. That was fantastic. It was a great win. And that was the moment that capped it off. Top try scorer in Pro D2, arm aloft, cheering his fans, throwing the ball into the crowd, knowing they were on their way to face, as Joe mentioned, the team that knocked them out in this ground last year. They get to go, and whether Arthur Colville will say it or not, revenge, I'm sure, in private, will be something they're absolutely saying.
Definitely. Mauricio Reggiardo, after they lost at home last year, was really angry with how the Grenoble players and team reacted afterwards and their fans. And he says, wait for next year, we're going to have our revenge. He actually said it after the game last year. So I'm sure they're going to be winding themselves up for this one coming up.
Well, the dream of the top 14 still there for Jules Plisson, who won't be playing next week. But there we go. It's done. Provence advance to the semi-finals. The game tomorrow night, remember, 8 p.m. kickoff will be underway from 10 to 7:50 UK and Ireland time. Colomiers against Montauban. And then we've got the semi-finals next week in Grenoble, in Brive, before the final on Saturday, the 7th of June. There is loads of content on the channel.
Get in. Can't
interviews.
Wait.
Go and check out Courtney Laws. Go and check out Manu Tuolangi talking about their experiences of France. Go and get stuck in with all the content we've got. And if you appreciate what we're doing, hit subscribe. And most importantly, join us for live Pro D2 rugby here back on FRUK Rugby tomorrow evening. Joe Worsley, top work.
Catch you later. Can't wait for tomorrow.